Hello students, myself Milan Patel, Assistant Professor at LJ Institute of Engineering and Technology. Today's topic is about classification of building based on occupancy. This classification of buildings can be classified by two ways, based on occupancy and based on structure. So today's lecture is about classification of buildings based on occupancy. There are a number of types of building based on occupancy like residential building, educational building, institutional building, assembly building, business building, mercantile building, industrial building, storage building, and hazardous building. So we will discuss these all types of buildings one by one. First, we will see Group A, which is residential type of building. The buildings which are provided with sleeping accommodation for normal residential purposes, with or without cooking or dining or both the facilities, except any building classified under Group C, which we will discuss later on. Okay, it's called as residential type of buildings. These residential types of buildings are further divided into these five groups: A1, A2, A3, A4, and A5. Okay, so first A1 group is all about lodging or rooming houses. A2 is all about one or two family private dwellings. A3 is dormitories. A4 is apartments, houses, or you can say flats. Okay, and A5 is hotels. First, we will see subgroup A1, which is lodging or rooming houses. So, what is the meaning of lodging? Any building or group of buildings under the same management provided with separate sleeping accommodation for a total of not more than 15 persons on either transient or permanent basis, with or without dining facilities, but without cooking facilities for individuals are included in this subgroup A1. Okay, a lodging or rooming house is classified under subgroup A2 if no room in any of its private dwelling unit is rented to more than three persons. Okay, so if this condition is arrived, then this type of house is categorized under subgroup A2. Okay, subgroup A2 is for one or two family private dwellings. Okay, this subgroup includes any private dwelling which is occupied by members of a single family and has a total sleeping accommodation for not more than 20 persons. Okay, if sleeping accommodation for more than 20 persons is provided in any residential building, it should not be classified under this subgroup A2. Okay, it is classified under A3 or A4. Okay, if the rooms are rented to the outsiders, it should be for accommodating not more than three persons. Okay, so this is compulsory for subgroup A2. The subgroup A2 is further divided into these six types of buildings like detached houses, semi-detached houses, row of houses, apartments or flats, duplex type of apartments, skyscrapers, etc. Okay, first we will see what is the meaning of detached house, or simply if you are called this detached house, it is called as individual bungalow. Okay, it is the usual tendency of any family to have a house surrounded by its own land. Okay, this has led to the formation of this type of detached houses. Okay, in this figure you can clearly see, okay, there is a site plan and also the ground floor plan. In site plan, this detached house is surrounded by these spacings. Okay, the design of detached house can be made by considering the individual requirements of the family to be accommodated in that house. Okay, sufficient margins are provided on the left side, right side, front side, as well as rear side of this detached house. Okay, it may also include amenities such as private garden, swimming pool, etc. A detached house permits the highest form of residence, and it is applicable at places where land prices are comparatively low, because here we have to provide the margin. Okay, and that requires particular land or area of land. Okay, so where the land price is comparatively low or the budget of the client is comparatively high, you can construct detached houses. Okay, second type of subgroup A2 is semi-detached houses. So what is the meaning of semi-detached houses? As you can see in this figure also, a common boundary wall in the form of structure barrier or particular masonry wall is constructed, which divides two plots, two bungalows or two units. Okay, such a construction helps in securing many advantages of the detached type of houses, and in addition, economy may be achieved by sharing expenses of common amenities such as water lines, drainage lines, electric cables, which is exactly between these two houses. Okay, so all the amenities, all the costs can be divided into two parts. Okay, this is the main advantage of semi-detached houses. Okay, and margin requirement is also less because at the one side, one bungalow is attached. Okay, so in that area, margin area can be saved. Okay, this is called as semi-detached houses. Next is row of houses, or you can say row houses. Okay, you can clearly see in this figure also in site plan 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These all six are connected with each other. Okay, this is called as row houses for providing reasonable accommodation to the laborers or workers. A row of houses with minimum requirements such as a living room and kitchen may be constructed. This row of houses may be single-story building or you can say double-story building. The row housing yield more net residential density and it is preferred for low-income group of families. Okay, this is all about row houses. Next is apartments or flats. You all have heard apartment or flat, right? Due to tendency of migration of village population to the cities, there is considerable rise in the price of city land, and hence it has become practically impossible even for the higher class of societies to have a detached house or semi-detached house in a particular city. Okay, this has led to the conception of apartments or flats. An apartment or flat consists of 3 to 10 story building. Okay, and each floor or story may accommodate 2 to 6 flats or 2 to 6 families. Okay, the idea of ownership flats is becoming popular day by day in big cities. The individual flat owner has no future scope either of vertical expansion or you can say horizontal expansion. Okay, this is the main disadvantage of this apartment and flats. Okay, this is the plan of the four-story building. Okay, next is duplex type of apartments. This is the recent trend in number of cities. Duplex is an apartment having rooms on two adjoining floors staircase. Okay, it is one type of modern lifestyle having a split levels. Okay, in such houses, living room, family room, kitchen, dining room, and the bedrooms are located at different levels. Okay, all the bedrooms or sleeping accommodation is provided at different level, and all the common areas are provided at the ground level. In multi-story buildings, this can be so arranged that corridors fall on alternate floor or you can say on the even beyond. Okay, along with good elevation, split level has advantage of privacy, more air and light, you can say, and more internal space with the vertical movement from adjacent levels of only half the height of floor to the ceiling. Okay, this is the plans of duplex type of apartments. Okay, this is the ground floor plan and this is the first floor plan. Okay, that's all about the duplex type of apartments. The last type of subgroup A2 is skyscrapers. Okay, this is an advanced civil engineering structure, you can say. The growing need of land and consequently a sudden shooting rise in price of land in big cities further led to conception of multi-story buildings or as they are popularly known as skyscrapers. Okay, you all have heard about Burj Khalifa, right? This is one type of skyscraper. As it always happens, the subject of skyscraper is also divided between two schools of thoughts. Okay, some town planners favor the idea of skyscrapers, while the other town planner or other agencies do not agree on these skyscrapers. Okay, so this is a recent trend in number of big cities. That's all about subgroup A2. Now let's see subgroup A3, which is dormitories. This subgroup includes any building in which group sleeping accommodation is provided, with or without dining facilities, for persons who are not the member of the same family, in any one room or series of closely associated rooms under joint occupancy in a single management facility. Okay, the example of these dormitories are guest house, school and college dormitories, military barracks, etc. Okay, you can clearly see in this picture also how the dormitories look like. Okay, now next is subgroup A4, which is called as apartment houses, or you can say flats. You all have seen these flats. Okay, this includes any building or structure in which living quarters are provided for two, three, or more families living independently of each other and with independent cooking facilities. This is the advantage of these apartment houses. These all have their independent cooking facilities. Okay. Next is subgroup A5. This includes any building or group of buildings under single management in which sleeping accommodation with or without dining facility is provided for hire to more than 15 persons who are primarily transient. The example is hotels, inns, clubs, and motels. Okay? This is called as subgroup A5. That's all about the group A residential type of building. Now let's see group B, which is educational type of building. Any school, college building, or daycare center used for educational purpose for more than 8 hours a week, including or involving assembly for instruction, education of recreation, and which is not covered by Group D, which we will discuss later on, comes under this educational type of building. Okay, all school, colleges, daycare centers are included in this type of buildings. Next is Group C, which is institutional type of building. This includes any building or part thereof which is used for purposes like medical or other treatment or care of any persons suffering from physical or mental illness, diseases, or infirmity, care of infants, aged persons, etc., are included in this type of building. Okay, these institutional building have the example like hospitals, jail, etc. Okay, these institutional buildings are further divided into three subgroups: C1, C2, and C3. Okay, in C1, hospitals and sanitaria are included. In C2, custodial institutions are included, and in C3, penal institutions are included. Okay, that's all about the institutional buildings. Okay, now let's see the subgroup C1, hospitals and sanitaria. This subgroup includes any building or group of buildings like hospitals, clinics, sanitaria, etc., which is used for housing persons suffering from physical limitation because of health or because of the age. Okay, subgroup C2, which is custodial institutions. This subgroup includes any building or group of buildings like orphanage, home for aged or infirm, etc., which is used for the custody and care of persons such as children and aged persons. Okay, and next is subgroup C3, which is penal institution. This subgroup includes buildings like jail, prisons, mental hospitals, mental sanitaria, reformatories, etc., which is used for housing persons under restraint or who are determined for penal purposes, in which the library of inmates is restricted. Okay, this is the classification of the institutional type of building. Okay, now let's see Group D, which is assembly type of building. Any building or part of building like theater, assembly halls, drama theaters, auditorium, museums, exhibition halls, restaurants, place of worship, dance halls, clubhouse, air terminals, surface and marine public transportation service, recreation piers, sports stadiums, gymnasiums, skating rinks, etc., where a group of people gather for amusement, enjoyment, recreation, social, religious, patriotic, civil, travel, or other similar purposes are included in this assembly type of building. These assembly buildings are further divided into five groups: D1, D2, D3, D4, and D5. In D1 group, any building with raised stage, proscenium curtain, fixed or portable scenery or scenery loft, lights, motion picture booth, mechanical appliances or other theoretical accessories and equipment, fixed seats over 1000 persons and primarily meant for theoretical or operatic performances and exhibitions is considered under this subgroup D. In subgroup D2, it includes any building primarily meant lot used as described for subgroup D1 but with a capacity of less than 1000 person is comes under D2. In D3 includes any building, its lobbies, rooms, and other spaces connected thereto, primarily meant for assembly of more than 300 people without permanent sitting arrangement, raised theoretical stage, theoretical accessories, but maybe with raised platform. This comes under D3. These buildings like dance halls, club halls, lecture halls, libraries, passenger terminals, and buildings used for educational purposes for less than 8 hours per week are covered under this subgroup D3. Okay. In D4, uh, it includes any building primarily meant for use as D3, but with a capacity of less than 300%, this comes under subgroup D4. And for D5, it includes any building meant for outdoor assembly of people not covered by D1, D2, D3, and D4, like grandstands, stadia, amusement park structures, reviewing stands, and circus stands, etc. are comes under this subgroup D5. Okay, that's all about the assembly building. Next is group E, business type of building. Any building or part of building which is used for the transaction of business other than that covered by building in group F, which we will discuss later on, for keeping of accounts and records and similar purposes, barber shops, beauty parlors, lunch counters, serving less than 100 people is included in this business type of building. Okay. Next is group F, which is mercantile of building type of building. This subgroup includes any building or part of building which is used as shop, office, stores, markets, showrooms for display and sale of merchandise, either wholesale or retail, are comes under this mercantile type of building. Okay. Next is industrial type of building, which is group G. This subgroup includes any building or part of building in which products or materials of all kinds and properties are fabricated, assembled, manufactured, or processed. Okay, this includes assembly plants, smoke houses, gas plants, refineries, dairies, textile mills, sawmills, etc. Okay. Next is group H, which is storage type of building. This subgroup includes any building or part of building which primarily used for storage or sheltering, including servicing, processing, or repair, okay, of goods, wares, merchandise, except those that involve highly combustible or explosive products of materials, vehicles, or animals. Okay, this includes warehouses, cold storage, freight depots, transit sites, storehouses, truck and marine terminals, garages, hangars, okay, grain elevators, bars and stables. These all are the example of storage type of building. And the last is group I, which is hazardous type of building. This subgroup includes any building or part of building which is used as storage, handling, manufacture, or processing of highly combustible or explosive material or products which are liable to burn or liable to explode with extreme rapidity and or which produce poisonous fumes or explosions on storage or handling or manufacturing or you can say processing is comes under this hazardous building. The example of hazardous building is like nuclear power plant, Number of laboratories, nuclear laboratories, are comes under this hazardous type of building. This subgroup includes buildings which are used for storage under pressure of more than zero point 0.1 Newton per mm square and in quantities or exceeding 70 meter cube of acetylene, hydrogen, illuminating, and natural gases, ammonia, chlorine, sulfur dioxide, carbon dioxide, methyl oxide, and all gases subjected to explosion, fume, toxic hazard. Okay, storage and handling of hazardous and highly inflammable liquids, storage and handling of hazardous and highly flammable or explosive materials other than liquids. Okay, and manufacture of artificial flowers, synthetic leather, ammunition, explosives, and fireworks are all comes under this hazardous type of building. That's all about the classification of building based on occupancy. That's all about today's lecture. Thank you for watching.